Hi guys, welcome back to the Library of Alexandria. Today, guys, can you guess what I have in store for you? Woo! Oh, you see them note cards? You know that's a tag video! Woo, 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 woo! Anyway, this is the birthday book tag. The original creator I will link down in the description. Some people at the World Hoppers actually did this just recently as well, so go check out that video as well. But last month, in the month of March, was my birthday, and so I wanted to do this during March, but I didn't get to it, so I'm gonna do it now because I'm allowed to do such things. So I'm gonna answer these 7 questions for you today, and without wasting any more time,
let's get down to business.
Let's get to it. Boosh! Question number 1, birthday cake. A book with a plot that seems cliche, but you adore it anyway. So, I am gonna say with this, I don't know if it wants you to like, it says it seems cliche, but you like it anyway. Does that mean it is actually cliche? Like a cliche book that you love anyway, despite it being cliche, or a book that seemed cliche and ended up not being that way? So for that, I'm actually gonna say The Faithful and the Fallen series, starting with Malice. I think Gwen starts with a lot of these tropes that we're used to in epic fantasy. I mean, there's literally, he's not a farm boy, but he's a blacksmith boy. It's the same bloody thing. And there's a lot of kind of like tropey stuff that we're used to, like, you know, a prophecy and a chosen one. And then things kind of veer away from that. And later in the books, it just completely is like, whoa, yeah, guess what? We're off the rails. That's why I think it's worth it to read all of Malice and not kind of, even if it's a little slow to start, to kind of give it through that first book. I understand, you know, you can't force anybody to read anything, and if it's not to them, they can certainly DNF it. But I definitely encourage that anybody picking it up, at least read through the end of the first book, and if it's, you know, even if it's not your favorite, but you liked it enough, read the second one. And if you're not a fan after Valor, you're probably not going to like the rest of the thing. Also, just as a side note, if you do not like battle scenes and you do not like battles in your book, don't read The Faithful and the Fallen. Just don't do it. Like it's like 40% battle scenes, but it's so good. So that's my answer for that one. Boosh. Number 2, party guests. Your most anticipated book release this year. This always comes up in like every tag. I have 2 that I'm anxiously awaiting. In June, the first one is coming up soon. Play of Shadows by Sebastian de Castell, which is the first book in a new kind of a new series set in the world of the Greatcoats. And I originally thought it was like the grandson of 2 Greatcoats, like it was several years later, but no, it turns out that this is taking place really like just a year or less than, or maybe slightly over, since the end of the fourth Greatcoats book. So, like, this is, and he has also said that the boys from the original series will have appearances. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So, I'm super jazzed about that. I've just delved into the Spellslinger series, his YA series. I think the first book in a new series set in that universe has just hit. So he's just like starting these series over again, and that excites me. And the other one that I am definitely waiting for, because it'll be the conclusion of Bancroft's first series, it is The Fall of Babel, coming out in November. This is the 4th book in the Senlin books, as I call them, or the Books of Babel. Guys, I am #Senlin super fan. Senlin Ascends was the first book that I read after I started BookTube that I just loved. Like, I was like, yes, this is what I'm talking about. And Book 2 came out, and then Book 3 came, and guys, they're so good, and what has been set up in Book 3, The Hod King, is, like, I have no idea. I have no idea what's going to happen. I can't imagine there's any more setup to be had. I think it's just all going to be climax and falling action, and I'm here for it. So those 2 books, I could not be more excited for them to come out. Gotta know what's going to happen. Also, number 3, it says birthday presents, but it looks like I wrote birthday perverts. You do not want those, I promise you. Birthday presents, a book that surprised you with how much you loved it. This is easy. I actually just read this recently. And that is Fireborn by Rosaria Munda, the first book in the Aurelian cycle. So I thought I might like it because I heard it was based on the Russian Revolution and Plato's Republic and the Aeneid. But it was YA, and it has young protagonists. I don't generally love young protagonists, and I heard there was a romance in it, and I really don't like romance in my books. I mean, except that I apparently like all of the ones I've read recently. And I just loved it so much. I loved the politics. First of all, I love the relationship between the main characters, and really not just the two main characters, but all their surrounding friends. Like, they just seemed like they had a real friendships, rivalries. Every competitor doesn't have to be a murderous bully. Like, they just don't. Guys, authors, please stop writing murderous bullies. They don't all have to be murderous. You can write competitive people without them wanting to stab each other in the throat. But really, the political world it takes place in, and what you have to do to maintain a revolution, and what it says about information control and propaganda and censorship, all of that stuff, I just love. The hard decisions that have to be made in a new regime that make you like, are you any better than the previous regime? Because again, as I said in my review of Fireborn, if you haven't watched it, go check it out. But as I said in my review, like, do the people at the bottom really give a crap if their situation is the same? Like, if they're starving, do they care why? Like, do they care that, oh man, you really wish you could feed them, but you can't? Where the old regime is just like, yeah, who cares? Oh, peasants, allow me to eat this yummy steak in front of you. You know what? I don't even want the rest of it. Garbage. Like, do the peasants care? Like, are they more mad because they're starving because the rich guy, didn't even want it and threw it away, than they are with the new regime, like, can't actually feed them? Like, they don't care. The peasants just want to eat. So I loved everything about it. I loved the sequel as well. I need Rosario Munda to write the third book. Boosh. Number 4, The Happy Birthday Song, a book that deserved all the hype it got. The book that deserved all the hype it got. For me, and I know, like, there are so many people that pop out of the woodwork that be like, Mistborn is terrible. I mean, okay, that's fine. Like, you're allowed to not like Mistborn. But for me, Mistborn deserved all the hype it got because it has so much of the things that I love. People trying to overthrow an evil empire. Do you hear the people sing a song of angry? And standing for stuff and willing to do whatever it takes to get the bad guy got. And a heist. I love heists with characters that weren't completely insufferable, and none of them are edgelords. Like, no one's like trying to be cool all the time. Oh man, and some twists and turns that I didn't see coming. It was just so good. I love Mistborn. I'm actually about to start Well of Ascension next week. Finally, I've got to see how the rest of the story turns out. But I think Mistborn deserved the hype. It's probably the most hyped book that I've read since being on BookTube. And so I was super worried, but I actually really liked it. The Final Empire. I haven't finished reading the whole series. Boosh. Number 5, Happy Music, a book with some very beautiful and truly incredible quotes. So I could always say Discworld because Terry Pratchett is probably the most quotable author I know. But I'm going to say something different this time, and I'm going to say The Long Price Quartet. I know it's 4 books, but Daniel Abraham just has a way of saying things. And I didn't write quotes down. I'm not super good at writing quotes down as I'm reading, and I need to be better at that because a lot of people, take notes on quotes, and I just never freaking do. But some of the things that he says are just like, I'm like, yes, like that hits me here, and that hits me here. Like, you got it, Abraham. So good. I'm gonna find some and read some. So here's some quotes that I really like, and I'll end with like one that kind of encompasses everything that I really like. To lose everything is not the worst that can happen. It's starting again from nothing with nothing. Yeah, I preach it. Sometimes the hand pulls the puppet, sometimes the puppet pulls the hand, but the string runs both ways. Can you love someone you don't trust? Absolutely, he said. I have a sister I wouldn't lend 2 copper links if I wanted them back. The problem with loving someone you don't trust is finding the right distance. I love this one. Every nation ends and every empire, every baby born was going to die given enough time. If being fated for destruction were enough to take the joy out of things, we'd slaughter children fresh from the womb, but we don't. We wrap them in a warm cloth and we sing to them and feed them milk as if it all might go on forever. Never assume you can survive the future because you've survived the past. Everyone thinks that, and they've all been wrong eventually. Some errors you can only see once you've committed them. Oh, isn't that true? It doesn't matter what you've done or seen, every man's a child until he's a father. It's the way the world's made. I mean, I get this. Like, sometimes, like, I feel like my friends who are younger than me, but they have children, like, they feel, like, I just feel like they're older than me. Like, I feel like they're my elders. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Here's one that we should all think on. And may the gods keep us from a world where only the people who deserve love get it. And here's one that it's just so good. We say that flowers return every spring, but that's a lie. It is true the world is renewed. It is also true that the renewal comes at a price, for even if the flower grows from an ancient vine, the flowers of spring are themselves new to the world, untried and untested. The flower that wilted last year is gone. Petals once fallen are fallen forever. Flowers do not return in the spring, rather they are replaced. It is in this difference between returned and replaced that the price of renewal is paid. And as it is for spring flowers, so it is for us. Ah, man, and the context surrounding all these quotes, like, I love Abraham's prose, guys. I love Abraham's prose. If you're not reading Long Price Quartet, please, guys, go read the Long Price Quartet. Please read the Long Price Quartet. It is possibly the most criminally underrated series on Goodreads, certainly. You look at the Goodreads ratings, do not look at the individual ratings for the individual books. Instead, search Long Price Quartet for the Omnibus Edition. That'll show you where the ratings really should be. Oh, guys, that's because the people rating that have read all 4 of the books. Man, like, it's so good. I'm not going to turn this into a Long Price Quartet gush fest, but it's so good. Just read it. Boosh. Getting older. Number 6, a book you read a long time ago, but you think you would appreciate it more if you read it as a more mature reader. So this was true for To Kill a Mockingbird. I did not like To Kill a Mockingbird when I was a student, but as a teacher and as an adult, I actually really like it. As far as other books that I did read, the most obvious answer is going to be Lord of the Rings here. Like, I don't love Lord of the Rings now, but it's because I read it a long time ago when I was much younger. I was in school. Like, I was in middle school, I think, the last time I read Lord of the Rings. And I've seen the movies, of course, but in middle school, I couldn't stand with a lot of that description and stuff. Like, it was just so slow. And I appreciate more slower things now, much more than I did then. And so at some point, I need to give Lord of the Rings an actual fair shake and read the whole thing, like, as an adult, where hopefully I can appreciate kind of more of the themes present and, more of the journey and the friendship between Sam and Frodo. Because, I mean, again, I was in college when those movies came out, and I didn't care. I'm just like, quit crying, Sam. So hopefully one day I will reread Lord of the Rings. I'll have the chance to, and I will appreciate it more. Boosh. And finally, Sweet Birthday Memories, a book that kept you incredibly happy during a sad or demanding period of life. This is hard to remember, but my answer is going to be Discworld. No matter what is going on with my life, I can always go to Discworld and just, like, forget about it for a time. Pratchett has such a way of just, I never read a Discworld book without smiling. I don't know, there's something, like, uplifting about seeing how beautiful Pratchett's prose is and how someone who is just such a master at his craft, at knowing exactly the word he wants to use, at exactly the time he wants to use. There goes the dog. And especially with the Watch books, because no matter what, if my life is, like, upended and, things are chaos and stuff sucks, I know that Commander Vimes and the Watch are going to set things aright. So even if the outside world is chaos, at least within Ankh-Morpork, within the confines of this Watch book, Vimes has got it. Vimes and the Watch, they got it. Stuff is going to make sense. It's going to be put in a box. All justice will be done, and that's the important thing, because a lot of times we can't get justice on the outside. So seeing justice done here in this world we can just fall away to is. I've always had Discworld when things have been gone, and that's probably why they mean so much to me. So guys, that is it for the birthday book tag. If your birthday is in April, consider yourself tagged. So anyone watching this, your birthday is in April. If you make videos, you've been tagged. Congratulations. That is all for me today, guys. As always, information about my Patreon and Discord is down in the description, and I'll see you next time, guys. Woo, woo, happy birthday!